And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Valley of the Judged. And I am getting an echo from somebody.
Whoop,
I am your
fix
one and
it.
only gaming monk, better known as Mildra. And with me, I have two of my good brothers here in the temple. We have our resident sky pirate, good brother Sizer.
Ahoy in the vast Mildra.
And making his debut, and we will come up with a we'll probably come up with a moniker in due time.
I'm
Good
sure I'll learn
good
it.
brother Funky Thumbs.
Hello, afternoon. I bring the drinks.
All right, did you see that in the chat there, Monk?
Heard.
Yep.
Or okay, yep. Right.
Mm-hmm. But sound engineering is going to be I would say it's the bane of my existence, but that's Zan. Oh,
Yep.
but we
It's
are
all right.
back.
It's what I do. I just got to get it set the first time.
Yep, we are back with a brand new season after delving into a whole lot of filthy weebness with Shadow Scar.
Oh yeah. So
Oh.
much filthy, so much weeb. .type.ao.
Mm-hmm. We are delving into the wonderful world of RPGs that are channeling console-style RPGs, with a game that has been covered a few times in the past on this channel in the form of Beacon. Now, obviously, in the interest of full disclosure, its creator, Tim Gonzalez, has been a frequent guest of the channel, whether it be to cover his own projects or talking about cross-pollination between his project and mine. But since I decided I wanted the direction to be leaning more into video game inspired TTRPGs as a way to say that you don't have to try and awkwardly shove Fabula Ultima into everything. I decided Beacon was going to be the focus for this particular slot. There's a couple other ones that are going to be in the Wednesday and Friday slots as well, but for this one, Beacon is where it's at. I will note setting up the layout for the schedule was a little bit tricky because of how the flow of this book works. This is also one of the larger books that we've tackled in a while, but it's not going to feel
Indeed.
as large in some parts. But this is a beefy boy at 404 pages. Both the server, 404. And
Deceptively large.
it does have bookmarks, and let's check the back. So it does have an index, but it's not in the back.
Speaking.
For a bit of context, Thumbs, those are two things I always check, and if they're not there, I have some very choice words.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Blame the years of Palladium games that didn't have indexes in 250-page books. Or had table of contents that were not accurate.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad.
Well, it's the reason that Palladium Games has been my whipping boy for most of my life because of that.
It's like, did you write the table of contents before you knew what the page numbers were going to be? I mean,
No,
I suppose it's possible.
Several years ago, I read through a series of posts by the guy who did Palladium Fantasy, and he talked about his experiences working with Kevin Siembeta. Apparently, a big part of the reason why there was that table of contents issue is because he would make edits at the last minute. The infamous 2-column setup that he insisted on is because he owned his own printing press, but he was still doing manual editing as early as the mid-2000s. When
Heard.
everybody was doing digital editing going all the way back to the early 90s.
Wow.
Oh. There,
Commitment to the bit. Not a good bit, but it is still a bit, I suppose.
one of the earliest digitally edited TTRPG books was one of the wasn't Cyberpunk 2020, but its predecessor was digitally edited, and that came out in the late 80s. So it's not like digital editing was this newfangled thing, and the story that was shared was posted in 2005. You know, long since digital editing was a standard.
That would have just been the regular Cyberpunk, correct?
Um,
Or are you talking about its predecessor?
the Cyberpunk 2020 was the second edition.
Yeah.
The original Cyberpunk, which I can't recall the year subtitle that it had at the moment, came out in the late 80s. 2020 came out in the early 90s.
Now I have to know when Neuromancer was written. I think it was early 80s.
It was. And a lot of the slang in Neuromancer was because William Gibson was a tweaker in his part of Canada.
Yeah.
84.
84. Wow, that's not too long between to get that genre popular.
I do think the perception of Cyberpunk is still stuck in the 80s in some forms, but that's a topic I've covered elsewhere. Now, that being said, when it comes to Beacon's inspirations, Tim has cited Lancer, D&D 4th edition. I know some people want to get out the pitchforks, to which I say, you're going to need better pitchforks.
Right.
And specifically citing Final Fantasy 10 and 14. And that already puts it a notch in its favor, because instead of trying to be the console style RPG or what everyone calls JRPG as a whole, it's more specific about that kind of thing. Much in the same way that a lot of those anime TTRPGs from the 90s and early 2000s don't hold up with age, because they were trying to treat anime as a whole genre instead of being more specific with what anime they were trying to emulate.
Besham.
Besm's the only one that's still around. A lot of the other ones fell off or just died a quiet death. Mostly because when you're treating it as a genre, you're not too far removed from a Universalist game, which has its own caveats. And don't get me wrong, I like plenty of Universalist games, but I also have forced people to be honest about the pitfalls of them. They are going to be a higher skill floor just because of all the stuff you can do with it.
You know, I just got an idea for something called GARPS, the generic anime role-playing system. I'm going to go make $1 million with this. I'll see you later. Bye.
Okay.
Get her ass back here. But something else I
Just
appreciate...
bring me back a bottle of Blanton's. We'll be all right.
All right.
Something else I appreciate is the fact that the table of contents is hyperlinked, and there's actually going to be hyperlinks throughout the book. That is always a nice touch to have. Now, if a book doesn't have hyperlinks, I'm not going to make as much of a fuss of it compared to a table of contents or the like, because it is trickier to do that. But it's one of those things that's appreciated when it does happen. I will also note that this will be the first time in the Valley that we're going to be covering supplemental material, because I do think that covering the Beacon reflections that have come out is an important thing to do, since that is a major concept within the game. And there is a reflection generator available, but it's I don't want to leave that kind of thing hanging, as it were.
Sure, I'd be interested to see what kind of like worlds they come up with.
Yeah.
If you will, their Beacon 1, Beacon 2. If we're considering it to be a or to console RPG series.
No, it's Beacon 1 and Beacon A. You've seen Futurama.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotcha.
But we start with the getting started section, and specifically the introduction. Oh. Some of this I've already mentioned. Oh. The first thing I want to get into, because it is something that's definitely going to be unique to this game, and unique for setting the tone. A world of your own. In Beacon, you create your own unique setting together called a reflection. Games of Beacon take place in the Source. No, not the Highlander movie. None of that. A wellspring of endless potential and stories. While the true nature of the Source is incomprehensibly complex, it is often represented as a giant crystal with infinite facets. Each facet is a different reflection, and each reflection is a unique reality. While there are infinite stories that can be told within the Source, there are commonalities across its facets. The following are true of each reflection. The world is filled with action and adventure. All things are composed of aether, a magical element that comes in many varieties, including astral and lunar forms. Magic is widely available and has been combined with technology to create magitech devices. There are beacons, people who are sources of great inspiration for others, whether they are heroes or villains. There's a recurring threat to the reflection, the Scourge. Crystals hold some significance to the reflection or its inhabitants. Ruins dot the landscape, ready to be explored. The GM and players work together to define the specific details of the reflection in which the game takes place, including its story, peoples, and cultures. And that's going to be further detailed in the GM's guide, which we will get to eventually. I wanted to highlight this in particular because a problem I've had with some games that want to half-ass how setting agnostic they are is that instead of giving some sort of framework that you can build around, especially for your first go, they just pick you up and throw you into the middle of the pool and say, swim, damn it.
Yep. Swim or drown.
Which...
No, like, I really like the skeleton that it lays out.
Yeah. I know that some people say, I don't use the existing setting, I build my own, which most people don't. They just have a few bullet points and then let common tropes fill the rest out. Because making an actual setting takes time and resources. Not in terms of money, but in terms of brain power.
Yeah.
And a lot of people's settings amount to a poor man's version of existing media, which there's nothing wrong with that. I'll make that clear. Just be honest.
Yeah.
But here, instead of just throwing people into the pool, although, AKA what I end up doing to Amov whenever he does one of his puns, you instead have a foundation that you can build around. Like, the worlds can take many different forms, but each of them has these particular things. And these are... I know that Fabula Ultima had the whole pillars thing, but they were... What Zan and I said at the time was they were broad when they needed to be specific, and specific when they needed to be broad. And here, you have very specific things that you can build around.
Like, right now, I'm just thinking I want to take all of Brandon Sanderson's books and put them on this framework.
Well,
I think he's trying to do that himself.
Oh, he is.
Not trying. Did.
Yeah.
The Plot Weaver system is basically his attempt to do the... I think he intends to use that as the basis to do the whole Cosmere universe, not just Mistborn and Stormlight. Which is certainly a bold strategy. Let's see how it pays off. I know some looked at that and the fact that it uses a D20 and were thinking, oh, it's just a D&D variant. Which, if that's the bar that you have, then well, I'm told that it's rude to mock people shorter than me. But then we have the motif of two modes of play, which basically there's the narrative play and combat, and you're going to be shifting between those two forms. So now, Sizer, you've read my work, so you know about the act structure that I have. This isn't too far removed from that.
Yes.
The 4th edition of Final Fantasy RPG also had narrative and combat as separate pillars. And of course, I also like the fact that they make clear that the PCs are beacons and what beacons are.
Heroes, powerful heroes, epic heroes.
But then we get into the how to play, and I do like the little side links on the pages.
Oh, yeah, that is nice. I'm glad you pointed those out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that'd make this a very interesting read on a tablet. I remember a similar thing with the PDF for Titan Effect. Which I've covered Titan Effect a few times on this channel. I can basically sum that up as X-Men meets Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
You have my interest.
Like feared and hated with superpowers, but also sneaky.
Even though Christian himself hasn't played it, another parallel is the PsyOps game back on the Xbox.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
right? Yeah, I remember like PSI Ops. Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Originally, it used Savage Worlds. He's doing a new version that's using the Year Zero engine. Specifically, the 2-die setup of the Year Zero engine.
Mm-hmm.
But getting back on the rails, we have the first thing we have after the introduction is core principles. The 6 core principles are the well-being and fun of the group is top priority. Specific text takes precedent over general. It does not model reality or real-life physics and is not meant to. Narrative play and combat play are distinct modes of play. The ability to do something in one does not automatically grant the ability to do it in the other. In combat play, players can do anything that their abilities allow, even if it doesn't make narrative sense. Always round up to the nearest whole number. I like this here because there's been a concerted effort among some within the tabletop space to treat hardcore verisimilitude as the true way to play. You know, the kind of people who insist on doing one-to-one time the way Gygax did, as if that's the way that you're supposed to do RPGs, ignoring the fact that none of us are Gary Gygax. But we also have a sidebar about general versus specific text. General text includes basic rules such as the 5 fight action, which is used to make a melee or improvised weapon attack. Specific text is more granular or detailed than general text. Basically the whole specific beats general concept. Gameplay is split into scenes, A scene is either a narrative or combat scene, which follows the similarly named types of play.
Mhm.
I do like the point. Not every fight is worthy of a combat scene. Only those that are important or tactically challenging move into combat play.
Good call. So if I get into a fight at the bar with some dude who like I looked at wrong, he can we can just, do a biff 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 and then we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think as a general rule, the combat play is built more for set piece combat scenes. And
Yeah.
I think if you look at it the way you look at set pieces in a action movie, you're going to be closer to the mark.
Yeah, that's honestly like reading through what I have of the book. That's exactly what I pictured in my head when I was reading.
Yep.
And like I really appreciate the way that they set up the core principles, so that way it's not up to interpretation.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Now the gameplay revolves around quests. Quests are missions, tasks, or jobs provided to the beacons by the GM. The quests that you participate in form the body of your campaign. I've been seeing this kind of thing more and more of doing mission-based design instead of something more sprawling.
Mm-hmm.
We just came off of that with Shadowscar.
Mm-hmm. Stuff like Shadowscar or Sword World is far more blatant about being about missions, but it's the age-old PTFO. Play the fucking objective.
Yep.
But as far as dice, the only kind of dice you're going to need are D20s and D6s. And the three main types of dice rolls are going to be attack rolls, checks, and saves.
Mm-hmm.
For each of them, you're going to be doing just straight D20. Well, D20 plus or minus modifiers, and then checking the total versus the target number. Attacks, we'll get into more detail when we get to combat play, but you're adding your beacon's grit score. Checks are either skill checks or ability checks. You roll D20, add modifiers. You're trying to beat 10. In that regard,
Okay.
It's not far removed from Shadow of the Demon Lord, which had it that the dice is modified, but the target number isn't.
Right.
Skill checks can use one of your background skills or your title, which are things we'll get to later. And ability checks use one of the ability scores, like bulk, agility, mind, or magic. And saves are similar to checks in the fact that you're rolling and you're trying to beat 10, which is the default. Each character has a save target, which is the total their opponents must meet or exceed when rolling saves. If there's no save target, it's 10. The three types of modifiers are either accuracy, difficulty, or static. Accuracy and difficulty, for all intents and purposes, this is the Boon and Bane die that I use and is used in Shadow of the Demon Lord. For each accuracy or difficulty, you're rolling a d6 and taking the highest result. If you're rolling with accuracy, you're adding that result. If you're rolling with difficulty, you're subtracting it.
Okay.
So
we've seen this concept before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've made no bones about the fact that I ripped the idea from Shadow of the Demon Lord because it allowed for a situational modifier that had a controlled range. Because no matter how many... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if I heard it referred to before as bounded accuracy.
This isn't really that. Bounded accuracy was more of more of a thing that came up because of the whole advantage disadvantage thing in 5th edition, and this isn't that. Plus, if I'm being honest, bounded accuracy got reduced to being a buzzword after about 2 years.
Fair enough.
But of course, accuracy and difficulty cancel each other out. So if you have a roll that has 1 accuracy and 1 difficulty, doesn't have either. And no matter what, you can't have more than 6 either way. So all any PC would really need is 1d20 and 6d6.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And of course, static modifiers are exactly what you think they are. But then we have the anatomy of a beacon. This is going a bit into character creation. We will not be getting into the classes because there's a lot of them, and I want to dedicate that to its own episode.
Yeah.
But I do like that they make it very clear that a beacon is not just some random who decide to take up adventuring one day. They are somebody who, from the word go, is already, for lack of a better term, built different.
Yeah. They're special.
Mm-hmm. Not that they are a special snowflake or something like that, but there is some kind of X factor that not only distinguishes them from regular folk, but also has it that they inspire people around them.
The shonen protagonist effect.
I like the term that's often used in wrestling, the it factor.
Yep. They got it.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to character creation, every beacon has a character level. Obviously, you start at level 1. You have a name and a title, 3 background skills at rank 1, 2 ability points, 3 talents at rank 1, a ancestry, 1 class rank, access to basic equipment and techniques, and of course appearance. And name is self-explanatory. Title is, it could be a nickname, it could be a call sign, it could be something based on reputation. But it's not there just for show. If you make a skill check during narrative play, you can invoke the title to give yourself a flat +2 bonus. Of course, it actually has to be relevant to what you're checking. So it's not like you can. So I'd imagine that some titles might get rejected for being too broad at the GM's discretion, and ultimately it's the GM call whether or not you can invoke it. And I kind of
wonder if this was inspired by the Tales series, where basically you can unlock titles by accomplishing certain things within the game. Obviously, it is not going to work the same way, and your character's probably only going to have 1 title, or like one that changes over time. But that's the first thing that came to my mind when thinking about this.
I do like the
mine was actually Mutants and Masterminds.
Okay.
Which I have covered, and I'm looking forward to the new edition of that.
Yep.
I'm hoping that I'm hoping that there's a little bit of flexibility when it comes to pre-gens, when it comes to Mutants and Masterminds, because no matter what, Supers games are not far from Universalist games, and there's always going to be a skill floor with that.
Yep.
But Guidance. I think the big problem they've always had with M&M was guidance. Third edition does better than than second did. You know, second was you have 100 power points. Have at it. But I like that they state if you find that your title is too easy to invoke, consider rephrasing it to limit its scope. And I also like the sidebar about how you can use titles to document the legend of your beacon. But after that, you choose 3 rank 1 background skills. Background skills have 3 ranks, and when you make a skill check in narrative play and a background skill is relevant, you get 1 accuracy on your roll for each rank you have in that skill. Each skill check can only benefit from 1 background skill, which you have to decide ahead of time. Each time you level up, you get a background skill point to either increase the rank of an existing skill or make a new background skill. And this does fall into that same thing of it might be best to have ones that are more evocative, which they mention when they say instead of just acrobat, making it something interesting like acrobat performer for the Demon Circus.
Yeah, like you're building your hero's, resume, essentially.
Although when they said the Demon Circus, I'm thinking, wait, are they an acrobat for the Flying Graysons? Because you might want to consider new employment if that's the case.
Yeah.
I hear that job's got a high turnover rate.
Much like say being a construction worker in Angel Grove.
Yeah.
But you also assign 2 ability points between the 4 ability scores: bulk, agility, mind, and magic.
Some of those sound familiar to me.
Ability scores range from 0 to 6. There is no negative ability score you're going to be dealing with. So having a 0 I don't think is going to be as much of a deal breaker, especially given that limited range. It does provide bonuses to some other attributes, and because of this setup, you could have 1 ability score at 2 or 2 at 1. But bulk gives you plus 2 HP for every point in it, and plus 1 recovery for every 2 points. And that's kind of the thing that we have here. There's 1 bonus that's every point and 1 bonus that's every other point. Agility.
So every point you put into it feels important.
Agility adds plus 1 dodge for every point and plus 1 speed for every 2 points. Mind adds plus 1 stress cap for every point and plus 1 memory for every 2 points. Magic adds plus 1 to Aetheric Defense for every point of magic, and plus 1 MP for every 2 points. And in addition, you get 3 rank 1 talents. Each talent has 3 ranks, each with its own ability. The best way to think of talents is to think of feats, but more specifically think of feats by way of either what I'm doing with Legend Edition or what I was inspired by in Fantasy Craft. In the sense that Fantasy Crafts, instead of doing the big dumb list that I've picked on in some games, they had feats categorized, and feat chains were only 3 feats back to back to back. There wasn't a bunch of other prerequisites that you had to try and grab and wrestle with. Looking at you, whirlwind attack. I know I pick on whirlwind attack a lot, but I think it's the perfect example of overdoing prerequisites. And I'm specifically talking about whirlwind attack in both 3.5 D&D and Pathfinder First Edition, where you have to go through all of those prerequisites just to do the equivalent of a spin attack in any Legend of Zelda game since Link to the Past.
Hurrah!
Too much paperwork to be a Beyblade.
I don't know. Maybe somebody had a Beyblade match against Twisted Tempo again and got triggered. I ended up going down a rabbit hole once of custom Beyblades and learned how completely busted during the Metal Fight era Twisted Tempo was, because it is a round wall, so it's hard to knock it out. And when I say busted, it was one. You know how in some games something is so busted that half of the game has to get completely rewritten because of how busted that is?
Yeah.
This was one of those cases. It completely broke the tournament scene. But after that, you choose Ancestry, your equivalent to race. This determines your size and gives you a list of Ancestry traits. Whenever you go on a quest, you can choose to equip one of those traits. They can also be used as a collection of common traits rather than literal descriptions. They point out the avian ancestry allows for flight, but an avian character doesn't have to be a literal bird person. Maybe they're a human that comes from a culture where jetpacks are common.
Hey, there we go. Be a Rocketeer.
I loved reading that.
Mm-hmm.
All my characters will have jetpacks.
You just want to do the Highlander burial, don't you?
You have no idea.
If you do, there is one rule. Your jetpacks must include loudspeakers that are playing bagpipes at the most obnoxiously loudest volume possible.
Oh, see, like I was thinking like the equivalent of like going to AutoZone and buying those really cheap exhaust covers that give like a weird whistle to it. And so each one of the exhausts on the jetpack just play a bagpipe note.
Well, you're familiar with the Highlander burial in BattleTech, right?
Very vaguely.
Okay, minor tangent. The Highlander is a assault mech. An assault mech with jump jets. That alone is terrifying enough as it is. Because assault mechs are the heaviest mechs. They're around 90 tons, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
90 tons and filled with the most amount of weapons. They're also really expensive. But pilots for it have this habit of using jump jets to pull death from above maneuvers to just land right on smaller mechs, literally burying them.
I like this.
Yep.
And when this first happened, the engineering corps looked at it and said, okay, we're going to armor up the legs so you don't break them doing this, because we can't stop you from doing it, because pilots are a special breed of crazy. But
and what game is this again?
that was in BattleTech.
So I can bookmark that for later.
Mm-hmm. But in my experience, crazy gets results. Maybe not the results you want, but it does get results. But after picking Ancestry, you pick your class. You get 1 rank in any class. Each class has 3 ranks. Each rank unlocks different abilities. Each class also provides a job unique to that class, which gives you the starting values for your attributes, as well as how many equipment slots you have. Your job is locked when you get rank 1 in that class. Each job also has a limit break, a scene-changing ability unique to that class. You can only perform 1 limit break per quest. If you use a limit break from one job and later change jobs within the same quest, you don't get to use the new job's limit break. You've already used your 1 for that quest. You get the limit break back after a long rest. Now, because of the fact that classes only have 3 ranks, which is not far removed from the mech license thing in Lancer,
Right.
you are encouraged to multi-class. In fact, as you level up, you're gonna if you focus on just your starting class, you're gonna cap that out pretty fast. So you're going to be dipping into other classes as well. They're not going to add their particular stats, but it is going to be a way to diversify your abilities. Because because when you're leveling up that class, you're getting its abilities, but the job is going to be based on the starting one, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's basic equipment.
So we got some like FF5, FF Tactics style class mixing for or even Legend Edition class mixing, job mixing, what have you.
To a point. But then we have basic equipment and techniques. All beacons have access to weapons, support items, skills, and spells that they can equip from the start. They aren't limited to equipping only abilities from their current job. We'll get to that gear later on. And of course, appearance is the last bit. The only limitation is that your description cannot grant you mechanical benefits in combat play.
Right.
But
I mean, that should be a given.
Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to leveling, the maximum character level is 12. When you level up, you get 1 rank in a class you have or a new one. You get 1 ability point, 1 background skill point, and either rank up 1 talent or get a new rank 1 talent. And because of that, you could kind of look at classes and talents as ability trees, just very linear ones. But grit represents combat experience. At 2nd level and every even numbered level, you get +1 grit. This is a passive bonus that applies to multiple attributes. Each point of grit gives you 1 HP, +1 to save target, +1 to all attack rolls, and +1 memory. So this ends up reminding me of the half-level bonus that I have in Legend Edition, and you also see in stuff like Saga Edition. I know it'd be tempting for some to look at that as akin to the proficiency bonus in 5e, but I was never, if I'm being honest, I was never a fan of the fact that proficiency bonus only applies to select things instead of being an overall raising of the water level, as it were.
Yeah.
But you can also reassign ranks from talents or classes as you level up, so you do have the option to respec. And there are a few attributes that are used in combat play. First one is size. This is determining the squareage that you're occupying. So it's basically 1, 2, or 3. So medium, large, and huge. And then 1/2 is everything below medium.
Yep, and you can choose to be size 3 if you want, it looks like.
Oh.
Well, it's
Based on
determined by
each-
ancestry. Yeah.
See. Scope is the range in which you can detect hidden characters, attack with spells, and use other attributes. Scope, I'd liken to the zone of control mechanic you see in some RTS or 4X games.
Right.
Oh. It's a nice way to have a baseline range. The armor is soak. The only thing that armor doesn't affect is discord, which is not a standard damage type, or stress, which is not considered damage. You cannot have more than 4 armor. Save target we already went over. HP is self-explanatory. You do have a bloodied value, which that's straight out of 4th. Bloodied is half of your max HP. You are considered bloodied when your current HP is less than that value. When you reach 0 HP, you take a wound. When you take a wound, you reset your HP, carrying over any excess damage, and make a wound roll to see what additional penalties you suffer. If you take 4 wounds, you're out. So this kind of explains why HP isn't that high, because you essentially have 4 times the HP in 4 sections.
Yep.
Now you also have a pool of recoveries, which it's funny that before we went live, I talked about how hit dice is not doing the same thing that healing surges were in 4th edition, despite what people claim. Recoveries is more akin to healing surges. It is a means to heal yourself and repair your equipment. You can use the refresh action to do so. Your recoveries are based on your choice of job, and also bulk. You get them back during a long rest. And the point of things like healing surges or recoveries was so that you didn't have to have somebody be the dedicated healer.
Yeah.
You can do that if you want, but you don't need to.
No, and I definitely was in a few 4E campaigns where we never had a healer. I had to rely on healing potions and surges.
And hell, with a lot of healers that do have some sort of healing effect, you're still using a surge. It's just that normally you only get to use that surge once per encounter. Having a healer gives you more opportunities to do it. Same with potions. But and dodge is how hard it is for attacks to hit you, i.e. the Piccolo School of Combat.
Absolutely.
And speed is how much you can move. When you make a standard movement, you're moving up to speed. And I do, because of the way attributes are set up, I do like that here. Speed is not locked at, say, 6 squares. But then we have stress cap and overstress. So stress is a special type of harm you can take through mental and physical strain or suffering psychic attacks. When you take stress, it accumulates until it exceeds your stress cap. If it goes over that, you take an overstress. This works similarly to wounds. And much like that, if you take overstresses 4 times, you're taken out of that fight. You also have a breaking point, which is half of the stress cap. When your current stress is equal to or higher than that, you're considered breaking. And we will get into more detail on that later on in the series.
Mm-hmm.
But then memory limits the maximum number of techniques you can equip. Each technique has its own memory cost. Etheric defense is how hard a character is to hit with etheric attacks. So basically magic defense. Since the etheric attacks target the aether that makes up a being, and thus can't be avoided like normal attacks. Most of these are going to be magic attacks that have the etheric tag. MP is self-explanatory. We've all played plenty of RPGs. We know what MP is. You can restore MP using a refresh. And with abilities, this is a catch-all for a lot of different things, whether it be traits, equipment, talents, or techniques. You can only benefit from one instance of any given ability or effect at a time. So you can't stack the same ability multiple times. And of course, remember, specific beats general.
Mm-hmm.
Then traits we already covered. This is stuff you can get from ancestries and jobs. Equipment is going to be things like weapons and support actions, and you're going to have a number of weapon slots and support slots that determine how much you can equip. Each slot is also suitable for equipment of a certain size: light, main, or heavy, or smaller. Weapons and support items also come in similar sizes: light, main, and heavy. You can only equip a weapon or support item into a slot if the equipment is of the same size as that slot or smaller. So if you have a main weapon slot, you can equip either a main or light weapon to it. Some equipment can be equipped for free. It doesn't take up a slot, but you can only get one copy each. You can have multiple different pieces of free equipment, but you can't stack it. When it comes to weapons, they're either going to be melee or ranged weapons, and have a few types. Artifact often have the etheric tag, and this is wands, staves, and magic implements. Blade is self-explanatory. You know, it's Wesley Snipes.
Poke, poke.
Hell yeah.
There's only been one blade. There's only ever going to be one blade. I know that was said in jest in that movie, but it feels like a prophecy.
It does kind of feel like that, given that how often that movie's gotten delayed.
Oh, it's canned. And I'm like,
oh, is it? Okay,
yeah, it was official.
I guess we didn't hear anything about it at D23. Come to think of it, so
it was officially canned 2 months ago, and I remember taking the piss out of the whole thing, and I was like, with how many people were a revolving door with that project for about a decade.
Yeah. Oh my God. I guess Mahershala was finally like, all right, I'm throwing it in. Just let Wesley have it from now on.
He was long since gone.
Was he? Okay.
He did express his frustration that they couldn't get anything together because they went through about 7 different writers and 3 directors at different times during that project.
Yeah.
And I was saying for years, just cancel the thing. Keep what's left of your dignity. No one will think less of you.
Yep.
It took them 5 years to figure out, hey, maybe we should have the focus be Blade killing vampires. And I remember when that article came out and everybody was like, no shit, it took you this long to figure that out?
Just hurts my heart. I wanted more.
Well, when Snipes decided to start making and producing indie comics, one of the first ones he made, The Exiled, which was this cyberpunk thing. Not only did he blatantly channel Blade, but some of the cover art was directly referencing some of the posters from the movies, as if even he knew. And he has outright said to whoever ends up taking the role, because he's not getting any younger, good luck. You could have probably done Michael Jai White in the role, and nobody would have made a fuss, but the moments for that is past.
Mm.
But we also have bow as a weapon type, so bows and crossbows. They typically have the arcing tag, so you can fire over obstacles. And I immediately am thinking of Wanted.
Yep.
Let's see, clubs.
Glad our minds went to the same place there.
Mm-hmm. Clubs are maces, warhammers, and other blunt weapons. Remember, if you have a hammer, all your problems look like nails. Also, on my old soundboard, whenever I had a hammer wielding person who had some sort of multi attack going on, I would always have the hammer theme from Donkey Kong on standby.
Nice.
People hated that. Is it the good Wanted or the bad Wanted? Let's go with the film. I'm not going with the game because I only played the demo of it, and it's a movie license game, so you know how that goes.
Yeah.
I do know how that goes.
I know some people say, "What about Spider-Man 2?" And I'm like, okay, yeah. How many others you got? The exception proves the rule. Also, natural weapons like claws also count as clubs. They may often have the slow or inaccurate tags. Then long arms are spears, javelins, and other weapons with an extended reach. And magitech are weapons that combine technology and magic. Shard guns, which are firearms that shoot blasts of magic energy, are the most common sort of it. Weapon slots that have the link symbol between two weapon sizes can hold two linked weapons of the indicated sizes. These two weapons form a linked pair. When you attack with a linked weapon, you can also attack with the weapon it's linked to as part of the same action, as long as you haven't already done so as part of the same action. This second attack is called a linked attack. Each linked pair can only trigger one linked attack per turn. You can make a linked attack even if the weapon would normally be used in a different phase. This excludes slow attacks. Linked attacks don't benefit from bonus damage. A weapon can only be in one linked pair at a time, but weapons count as linked to each other. Each weapon in the linked pair counts as a separate weapon and can benefit from separate enchantments. But if one's destroyed, so is the other. So we have a baked-in way to do dual wielding that doesn't involve going through a bunch of hoops.
Love it.
Yeah, no, I really like it. Although, have either of you guys ever read the book Snow Crash?
No.
Yes.
Neil Stevenson, like late 1980s. It was a fantastic book. The one thing from reading through this that got me the most excited was reading the Magitech weapons. Because in the book, there's a scene where a ship is being attacked, and the way they essentially repel the attackers is by using a Gatling gun that's ammunition is shards of depleted uranium.
Oh.
And it essentially just turns it into soup, which is amazing. And so as soon as I read the Magitech, that's immediately what came to my mind. And now I want to play a character that has a jetpack, is big enough to carry one of these Gatling guns, and just that's what he does while bagpipe music plays out of his backpack.
If we're gonna go that ridiculous, it can't just be bagpipe music. It has to be that one really bit crushed clip of someone screaming "Scotland forever."
Yes.
Oh,
And I would only have him speak in lines from Braveheart.
mhm.
There you go.
Oh, that's the second time I've made a Scotsman joke. The first time was with Zan and us creating the dwarf druid Angus, who really hates elves and wants them to get the hell out of his swamp.
Nice.
Oh, but now support items can be things like armor, shields, potions, and the like. So self-explanatory there. Techniques are either going to be spells or skills. Regardless of which one they are, they take a certain amount of memory to equip. Your available memory is based on your current job and is increased by mind. And of course, some techniques can be equipped for free. You can't have multiple copies of the same. Spells cost MP, and obviously you can't use spells if you have the silence condition.
Mm-hmm.
Skills, on the other hand, don't require the use of ether. Don't cost MP to activate. And because of that, you can use them even if you're silenced. Then we also have resources such as temp XP, temp HP and focus. Temp HP is exactly what you think it is. It also doesn't stack. So a second source would only apply if it's greater than the current one.
Right.
And focus is a temp resource that's gained during combat scenes. It can be spent for certain effects, like the interpose reaction. It starts at 0 and has no cap, but you lose all focus at the end of a scene.
As the
I mean,
adrenaline
that's true. I mean, once everything is over, I just like kind of drift off and like get very distracted.
But
ADHD joke.
you have gold as a narrative resource. It doesn't represent. It's more of an abstract in the same way that resources was an abstract in, or not resources, but stake was an abstract in my system. This could be chipped gems, paper bills, credits, but it's all treated as gold mechanically. It's assumed you have enough resources to cover basic needs, and you're starting an unlocked equipment. This is only used for downtime activities like purchasing supplies and in narrative scenes, and only used for purchases that are meaningful and impactful. You're not spending gold when staying at an inn or purchasing a drink at a tavern. So, as far as the level of abstract, think of the resources stat in any World of Darkness game, where it's not having you reduce that thing unless it's something that is significantly expensive. So if you're not going to be losing that resource if you buy a drink at a bar, for instance.
That's nice. I like that.
You can
Lads, can we take a moment to appreciate this riding goose? Just a quick moment.
Yes, but since it's a
Okay,
goose, I do
moment's
not
passed.
trust it.
Well, fair enough. With geese, peace is never an option, right?
Absolutely.
Them and swans. Everybody's surprised about the swan part, but you can gain gold through the pursue profession downtime activity, but you're capped at 10. As far as why the cap, well, so you don't hoard it. There's also residuum, which is the byproduct of destroying magical items. It is aether dense and can be used to modify other magic items. It is created with the downtime activity Disenchant Loot. 1 Residium lets you reroll any 1 loot crate slot. And
Oh
yes,
no,
there is.
we have it. It's a gotcha game. Oh no.
Nope. 2, reroll any 1 loot crate slot and choose a specific type for that slot: weapon, support item, skill, or spell. 2 Residium could also let you reroll any 1 loot crate slot. The rerolled slot will be 1 level rarer than the original result. This is. I know some
So
people look at this
gambling.
and think, gotcha. This is drawing more upon ARPGs.
Yeah.
Which is not going to be the last time that happens, because you have a similar mechanic in Photon System Overdrive, which is in the works.
Oh.
Shall I refresh it? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. No, we're back. Okay, there we go.
You can equip up to 3 of your available supplies when prepping for a quest, and you can only bring 1 instance of each supply per quest. All equipped supplies are destroyed at the end of the quest, whether or not they were used. I remember having a similar thing with consumables, and people complained at me about it. I'm like, I think it's done here for the same reason I did it with Legend Edition. We all know that one person, sometimes we have been that one person, who will hold on to a healing potion until the heat death of the universe.
I'm gonna go ahead and just raise my hand before I get called out again.
Oh, I'm calling myself out too. I know my own habits.
Yep.
How many mega elixirs are left unconsumed versus mega elixirs used
No comment.
in Final Fantasy games?
No comment.
Yeah.
But now then we have quests. Gameplay revolves around quests. These are the adventures you're going on, and quests have the following components, which we will get. Sorry, my PDF reader decided to hang for a second. Goal, stakes, information, rewards are the main components. Quests progress through the following steps: preparation, quest scenes, and then downtime.
Mhm.
So, a 3-act structure compared to the 4-act structure that I did, but similar destinations. And they do have a few examples of, say, goals, stakes, and what the success or failure stake is. I do like the way the failure entries are written. For example, goal: prevent the Archmage from crashing the moon into the planet. Vanilla FF14, is that you? Success: the moon stays where it is. Failure: the moon crashes. Bad things follow.
Yeah.
Or things like goal: rescue a captured friend. Success: the beacon's friend is returned safely. Failure: the beacon's friend becomes the vessel of a parasitic psychic entity. Baldur's Gate 3, is that you? See, then information, and then finally rewards, which rewards are always a new character level and a loot crate. The loot crates are an abstraction, a mechanism to assign random rewards to beacons, and they aren't always boxes of treasure. Each player receives their own loot crate containing 3 random pieces of equipment or techniques, one of which they get to keep. The loot they chose is added to their unlocked equipment and techniques. Players always have access to unlocked loot, just like any other piece of equipment or techniques. Each player can only receive a given piece of loot once. If a loot crate contains something they already have, that option's re-rolled. So in that regard, the loot crates are more akin to the level up options you'd see in a roguelike. You know, whether it be something like Slay the Spire or Vampire Survivors, the whole you level up, pick one of these 3 options.
Yep.
You're just not resetting to 0 if you end up wiping in Beacon for this, because that would be stupid. And we don't do stupid here. I hear I hear there's some people out in Seattle that are hiring stupid though. Oh. See, that joke can have layers. I could be talking about Wizard of the Coast, or I could be talking about the Seattle Mariners punching their fans in the dick again.
Oh,
Oh. And if any Mariners fans want to object to that, look at your history. The most successful season that you ever had with Ichiro, and you get blown out in the first round after one of the winningest seasons in the modern era.
So is that a metaphorical dick punch or a physical dick punch?
Yes.
Awesome. Correct answer.
Look, if you've ever had to follow or be a fan of a struggling team in any sport, you know the pain. Oh, doubly so if you are a Browns or a Jets fan. Which is a fancy way of saying
when I was younger. When I was younger in the '90s, my most of my family and stuff's from up north near the Chicago area, and they were Cubs fans. That was not exactly.
Oh, I know where this is going.
And yeah, so like I was just starting school and stuff, and they're like, well, everybody plays sports. And so when my dad literally said, if they ask you what's your favorite team, we don't say the Cubs. I was like, but that's all you guys watch. And I was like, I know, but we don't talk about
it. I understand. He was doing what a parent is supposed to do and protecting his kid. Oh. I've mentioned this to you guys in the past. Every sport has one team that is my whipping boy for all of their own self-inflicted torture.
Right.
Surprisingly enough, the Cubs are not the entry for baseball. It's the Mets. Because they still have to pay Bobby Bonilla for another 9 more years. He hasn't suited up since the 2000s. Still have to pay him like $1.5 million every year. Oh.
Then what they're going to find is when their new season starts, they're going to see you like standing outside Shea Stadium with the friggin' boombox playing Radiohead's Just,
Oh.
You do it to yourself, you do, and that's what really hurts.
I saved that for Leafs fans.
Okay.
Constantly talking like you're God's gift to the sport and your Canada's team, and you haven't had any actual silverware since 1967. I can't think of a bigger insult than that. But obviously, for prep, when you're prepping for a quest, you pick your job, you pick your ancestry trait, your equipment, and your techniques. Oh. So because of this, you do have the option of job switching in a way that I think works better here than it does in a lot of games, because trying to do job switching in a lot of games that use class or job systems is messy. I remember the FF Seed project did it once, and well, it was very clearly built for online tabletop, because trying to do what it was doing on a table would have been an absolute nightmare.
Ugh.
Oh. Like they tried to do a traditional license board. And have job switching. you're not doing that on a physical table, not easily. But I like that there is this kind of equipping of your kit rather than being locked in. Whereas then the quest scene, as mentioned before, then the downtime, which you can cool down or do downtime activities. When you begin downtime, it counts as taking a long rest, so your HP, MP, and the like can reset, and you can change out equipment and the like. We will get further into downtime when we get to the narrative play chapter, but that is technically the next chapter, but we're not going to get to that yet. That will be for next week. So
Cool.
What do you think of what do you think of what we have here with Beacon?
I mean, jetpack wielding, minigun carrying behemoth, notwithstanding, I dig it. I dig it a lot.
It definitely sets up, spends these first few chapters setting up what the game is. It's very clear about what kind of game it is, what it wants you to do with the system. I think that's good, right? You know, it tells you how to best use it.
Yeah.
And what else? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, it's like I really like it. It feels like it's got a really strong sense of identity, but also gives you the ability to kind of play it how you want, at least when it comes to like your character.
Indeed, and like also the world too, because it did mention that like the world creation is like a collaborative process with the other players and with the GM, I think. So I guess we'll figure that out as we get more into it.
Now, for me, the big takeaway is the strength of a core loop. And the fact that instead of trying to be this sprawling, do everything kind of thing, it's like, no, this is what we're doing. Take it or leave it. And I appreciate that kind of dedicated direction rather than just throwing people right into the middle of things. The fact that you have a flow when it comes to things like quests, and we're probably dealing with a similar thing to what I had to deal with, where can a quest involve going into a dungeon? Possibly. But quests are not dungeon crawls. This isn't assuming that kind of thing. In fact, I'd imagine that because of the way the game is set up, trying to do a dungeon crawl would just be one long narrative scene.
Yep.
And yeah, it does kind of lay that out with our example quest structure here too, where it's just like, get past the guards, get past the traps. Do it narratively, which is, frankly, I don't want to do this game as like a series of random encounters. So, yeah, it definitely feels that actual combat scenes are going to be. First off, I think it's best to look at a quest like a TV episode. Like in a TV episode, even in an action TV series or an action anime, you might have one major fight scene in that episode, and that's it, or one major high tension scene, and that's it. You're not going to have a slog of them. And because of that, the one combat scene that you have has room to breathe.
which is why I made the action movie analogy earlier on. Also, because I think anyone who's GMing should read the book Blowing Up the Movies, especially if they're doing any sort of combat heavy game.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows I've used various action scenes in different movies to help illustrate tone. I think in one case when I was doing a feng shui game, I brought up that one scene from The Protector. You know, the fight scene that goes on for like 11 minutes in one continuous take.
Yeah. I love that.
Or some of the ridiculous scenes in either the Crank movies or Shoot 'em Up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's like how do I
either
pitch
of the Raid movies?
Yeah. How do I pitch Shoot 'em Up? Death by carrot, which is not a sentence I ever thought I'd say. Along with
now it's
one
on the internet.
along with one moment of, okay, we need to figure out if this is supposed to be a boning scene or a fight scene, and the director said, "Fuck it, let's do both."
Both is good.
Yes. I'm not kidding. Because remember when I saw it for the first time, I was like, all right, scene's interrupted. I'm like, okay, never mind, we're doing this. But I do think this is going to be one of those cases where you can't look at classes in isolation when we get to it. I can agree with the multi-classing approach that was brought up earlier, specifically Final Fantasy V. Although you've got more than just a main and secondary, but also to a point tactics. The only difference is you're not having to get levels in specific jobs to unlock others.
Right.
Or dealing with certain jobs that are completely borked. Hi, arithmetician. How you doing? Or some of the as much as I like tactics, some of the job progression was kind of weird. And it's in that category of needing to do stuff you don't want to get what you actually want.
Oh, yeah.
And from a design perspective, I hate that.
Yeah.
It's creating false choice. That notion of, okay, I have to take these really useless abilities to get the ability I actually want. But I don't think we're going to be dealing with that here. And I think people who have more of a video game background will be having an easier time here. I mean, obviously. But
right, yeah.
If you don't have the less D20 brain rot you have, the easier time you're going to have. Or the less you assume that there's a certain right way to do things. You'll be a little bit more flexible to what this is doing, but there is a very strong motif of this is what the game is doing. Take it, house rule it, or find something else. But when we get back on this in about a week's time, let me see how far we're going to go with it next week. Okay, next week we are going to be tackling the two types of play that we talked about this week. Narrative play, and then later on, combat play.
Cool.
Also, as an aside, with this art we have on screen, I think somebody looked at all the belts that Lulu had and said, "Hold my beer." It is a robe made of nothing but scrolls.
Yeah, that's totally within the bounds of the genre that we're dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
Each one adds 1 point to a defense.
Mm-mm. I would say it's ridiculous, but then I remembered when Rob Liefeld made the character Pouch. A character that is made of nothing but pouches, and even his gun is a bunch of pouches.
Well, that's a nice little piece of self satire.
Mm. Oh, Liefeld was an asshole in the '90s, but he's clearly had his humbling moments. And I appreciate that that with that one guy who couldn't make the premiere of Deadpool, he got him a ticket.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
But with that said, I will be back here tomorrow to finish up Augusta Universalis, and then Saturday is going to be a little bit open as far as scheduling goes, but there'll be some stuff planned. So until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
Goodbye.
Have a good one.